We are live. Today is 15th of July and this is AmericasScrum. We have Brian, John and me in the house. Let's start. Well, Brian, let's start with you.
Okay, yesterday I was actually pairing with Aditya, was it? He had some issues with deploying his Rails app, so I was just helping him stepping through the process. Other than that, I was doing some review of a couple of pull requests this morning, made a few comments, and I plan to do lots more of that today because there is just pull requests are just coming in, and I expect more will be coming since all the students have started joining and looking for projects. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing.
Okay. John?
Yeah, I've been working on adding tests to my to this Hookup Manager code, and yeah, I worked with Marion some yesterday, and then again this morning for a long session. And so one thing I did actually that I don't know if any of you are interested in reviewing, but I added a bunch of user stories, and I'm not very I'm not very good at defining user stories, especially in the sense I'm not don't have a good feel for user stories versus features and the testing. One thing that Yarrow was kind of not happy about with my approach so far is that I tend to look at the big picture and then I just want to get the whole big picture done. And so I look at like big picture features, if you will. And he was emphasizing, and I agree, I really need to break it down into smaller chunks that can be achieved in pieces, even if they don't, even if it's not something that anyone would want to use until I'm at step 10 of it,
Yeah.
So, but I did add a bunch of user stories to the website one pivotal tracker.
Right. Are those all the ones marked as hookups?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see plenty of them right now. Has one of them been voted on? One of them already has points assigned.
I think I just gave a 1 point to one of them just because I wanted to see what would happen, but
okay. No. Yeah, you can put it back to unestimated, and then what we usually do is during the scrum, try and bring this up. Are you usually around during the not Euroscrum, what was it called? Atlantic?
Yeah, I brought it up then, but no one had much to say about it, so.
Okay, yeah, what you should do the next time around, we can go over this like during the scrum, and then tomorrow what you can do is bring it up and have people vote on it. So just assign points to it, just roughly estimate how difficult and how much time this will take, so you can take into consideration things like technical difficulty or just like how the amount of time it'll take, whether or not if it's just a laborious, tedious thing. Those should also be taken into account. Yeah, generally a good estimate would be like how many days would it take on average for a person, say. Yeah. Yeah.
Back to the issue of what is a good user story and how should it tie in with the actual workflow. Okay. What are your thoughts on that?
We can go through it now. Pavel, why don't you pick one of them and we can show.
Okay.
Start looking through them. It's in the icebox. Everything under hookups.
Hookups.
Oh yeah, there's
okay.
Right at the top. Just pick one and let's look at that.
As a user logged in. Yeah, sure. Okay, display a list of active leaf hookups. Hookups with leaf hangout in a separate table. As a user, logged in or not, I'd like to view a list of leaf hookups so that I can join or manage each hookup, covered in a separate story.
Okay. Well, the format of the user story is not very clear right now.
As a user.
Let me just give a couple of comments. So how I would write this is like as a user, so that I can join. Yeah, I think you just can flip the so that, and I'd like.
Okay.
Yeah, usually the format is as a like person or stakeholder or whatever, so that whatever the intention is, and then
Okay.
the last part will be some form of action you can take to achieve your intention. Yeah, and
Okay,
then
yeah, all of them I need to flip around, but no big deal.
yep.
Okay. And then what I'm doing, I don't know, I haven't been part of this group long enough to know, or really had enough experience with Pivotal Tracker, but for the tasks, I've been writing up what I think would be good tests.
Uh huh.
So good,
Yep.
so it's like, yeah, I'm trying to use it like features or what is it, scenarios and features, or feature and scenarios, right?
Yep.
But I don't know if that's appropriate or.
I think I don't know, we don't usually use stuff like the tasks. Those go into too much detail. What we usually do is we just let the people who are taking care of the story figure out what exactly are the tests to write
Uh-huh.
and things like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So tasks, we don't normally use like specified task in there. But say for example that this story is dependent on another story. For example, maybe in another story it would be introducing like live hookups in a. Oh, is this the
No,
story
but
to introduce live
it's
hookups?
not user story. It's a scenario, right?
Yeah, it's more like a scenario.
It's scenarios for testing this story, right, John?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, scenarios are for testing. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but what Brian was saying is a better way to do it would be to use it for dependencies, or right,
Yeah,
interdependencies.
something like dependencies. If you have another story that this story is dependent on, maybe this is not a good example. Display live focus in a separate table. I don't know. This one looks like okay. Okay, say for example you're introducing a live hookup model in one of the stories. So
Yeah.
maybe this story would need that model to be in place before you can actually start it. So
Right.
what I usually do is put dependencies in a task. That's what I usually do. What other things do I do? Oh yeah, if there is, for example, there's lots of part to the story, like in some refactoring chores, what I usually put in the task are like which stuff do you need to refactor. Like there was one bug about like randomly failing tests. So what we did was in the task just put whichever tests we knew were failing randomly.
Okay.
Things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever format is comfortable for you. I think we don't have any like widely accepted way of dealing with tasks.
Then what about going back to the bigger picture?
Mhm.
How do these user stories tie in with features?
I think each one is basically introducing a new feature. For example, display list of live hookups. So that feature would be a new page that has a list of live hookups, something like that.
Okay.
Display a list of pending events in a table. I guess don't we already have upcoming events without joining?
For scrums, is that what you mean?
Yeah, for scrums.
Yeah, but these are for the hookup events, which we don't have a page for.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. Okay, yeah. So upcoming hookups, yeah, we can. That would be also perhaps on the same page, whatever way you like to display it. That would be introducing a new feature that is displaying pending hookups, things like that. Yeah, each one is a small feature. The epic is like a group of features that all tie into the same goal. So hookups, everything is trying to introduce this new hookups part of the website, something like that. Yeah. So user stories is just a way, like a short description, like an analogy of how your feature can be useful.
Yeah. So in practice, do you often have to take a single user story and make several features out of it and implement it in stages? Is that typically how it works?
I think for each feature you should define user story. You can have several user stories for
Really?
one feature.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the way we usually do it.
Yes, but when this feature is kind of epic, right?
Hookups is the epic. Yeah.
Yes,
And then
hookups
epic
is a
is
hookups is feature, right?
it is well, it's more like an epic. It's a combination. It's not a specific like quantifiable feature. I mean, a feature
By
is more
feature,
like
I meant what was actually in the features file. The
oh
Oh, it's something different.
yeah, that's something. The
yeah.
feature.
So how does that
Okay.
tie in?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think those usually. Yeah, we haven't been very structured about the way we organize feature files, but I think for each epic they deserve a separate feature file. Or at least if there's like tons of little features built on top of a single epic, it should have its own directory. Like for example, the user, there's plenty of little features like login, profile privacy, YouTube videos, things like that. All those are under a user directory.
Brian,
Yeah.
why? I mean, when feature and user story connected somehow, it's very hard to manage. Why we can't make feature, one story? It's impossible to do.
Sorry?
I mean, that one feature, one story, I think should be, because in another way, it's very hard to make connections between them. It's
Yeah.
like, like user
I th-
requirements and user stories.
Yeah. I think that is definitely the way to go. So we have to eventually refactor all the features into splitting up each file into separate stories. I think, yeah, why don't we try that out? It's much more organized and we can track each story. So anything related to, say, displaying a list of hookups, that'll be one feature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The whole project is still growing and
Yeah.
changing, so it might
I
be a
guess
bit
each
safe.
each pivotal user story has an ID also, though, right? So you could actually map from a feature file feature, cucumber feature, to a specific user story using that ID, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It might not be a bad way.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Um,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, you can maybe when you're writing your feature files, you can try out this new approach and just one feature file for each story, and you can add the pivotal tracker like ID or something, so we
Okay.
can search for it in the future, something like that. Yeah.
And so if I can move on from this, I also Marion and I got stuck with like a conceptual testing issue. I don't know if this is the right time to bring it up. If I can bring it up.
Yeah. Well, Pavel,
Well,
I don't know
let's
if we've taken too
do the
much.
next week. Yeah, I'm saying just
Yeah.
about me, and we stop
Okay.
broadcasting and then discuss. Or
Okay.
just yeah,
I think just continue the broadcast after.
or just continue a broadcast. Yes, if it continued without me, because I
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
you
know.
have to go.
We'll see. Well, I have to go in 5 minutes, so I just.
Okay, go.
Well, as for me anyway, I haven't done much yesterday and today. I have tried to read that Yarrow's document, but it's not enough time to read it normally, and say something in response to it. So I think that tomorrow I'll proceed to it, and obviously I want to say something about it, about these mission goals and vision. It is very important
Yeah,
document.
I think I
Definitely important. You
I
too,
should have
Brian.
looked at that.
Haven't-
Yeah.
Yes.
I need to look at that
Yes.
tonight.
Yes, you should.
Definitely.
You should. That's it for me. Any other questions regarding to Scrum?
Not regarding to the Scrum,
Okay.
but
Okay, then let's discuss.
okay. Yep. John, far
Oh,
away.
okay. Okay. So I'm showing my Ruby Mine screen with the tests on it. Let's see. Okay. So what we're trying to do is to see if live events, meaning events that have a hangout associated with them, will show up in the proper section of the of this new page. And the challenge we're having is that we're using and we're following this same kind of example that's being used in other places in the file. We're using the what is it called? The factory girls.
Yeah.
To which is, I think it's like a pseudo database, right, where it stores the events. So there's a fake event that's created underneath or within this factory girls way of doing things.
Factory Girl is sort of just like an abstraction to help you build models quickly that fit certain requirements. But it still uses the actual database.
It does use the actual database. So
yes, it does use.
Okay. So this problem really has nothing to do with factory girls itself, and it has to do with the database.
Okay.
So what we want to do is we want to stub a method of an event. We want to stub the started method of the event, which actually would normally go to the hangout that's associated with the event, and if it exists, check to see if that has a URL. Does that make sense?
But could you run that by me again?
Okay, so this event started function would normally check. Let me show you what it does. It checks to see if there's if there's a hangout. It checks its started method, which just checks to see if it has an active a URL associated with it.
Okay.
It would say that the hangout's in session. So,
right.
But the problem is we don't know how to stub out this. So let me get back here. This method here, and we tried to do it from here. So this event is created in the sum before somewhere, I believe. Is it created in sum before? I thought it was created in the before. Oh yeah, here's the before where it's created. So it's created with factory girl, but that's not really even relevant. But we tried to stub it on this instance of an event, but since it's using the database to kind of recreate the event, right? It doesn't. This stubbing doesn't have any effect on this event that's instantiated here. Does it make sense?
Oh yeah, I know what you're trying to do. That is because you are actually stubbing a representation of the database, outside, which is your add event. So you're stubbing like an object that's created from the database row, but you're not actually. So what you're doing in the other piece of code is you're asking the database again to pull out all the rows, and you're effectively creating new objects for each one. So you're not stubbing the right thing.
Right.
How many records were created?
Just one. It's not a big database.
Okay. There is actually another method you could do called allow any instance. I think you should look that up. So what that actually does is any instance of a certain class will have this method stubbed. So if they create a new instance later, it will be automatically stubbed out.
Okay.
Yeah. You could try that.
Sounds good. Okay, I'll give that a shot.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully hopefully I'll understand it when I look it up and be able to plug it in there real easily. I mean, it should, right? It shouldn't be too hard. Okay.
Yeah, shouldn't be too hard. Just look it up. Not sure if I got the right name, but I think it is the right name. Yeah, looks right. RSpec. I think we have 2.9.9 should have that syntax.
Oh, okay. I'll have to make sure.
Just be sure, but I'm sure there is an equivalent of it in RSpec 2 anyway. So.
Oh yeah, I see a good example on Stack Overflow already.
Yeah. So excellent. Cool.
Okay.
Okay,
right,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah. See you. Switch on our broadcast.